I got it for a second.
You should have signed off on it though.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. What does it mean to be adjacent to something?
Across from something.
Across from something, side by side, attached to something, okay, connected. So we've got something called adjacent vertices. Two vertices that are joined by an edge. Okay, so any 2 points that have a line that connects them are adjacent. Okay, be careful because there's some special cases. A loop is adjacent to itself. So a dot can be adjacent to itself because it has an edge that leaves it and goes directly back to it. Okay, so example 1 says, in this picture, is A, B adjacent?
Yes.
Yes. There is a line that connects from A to B. Would you consider E adjacent to itself?
Yes.
Yes. There is a loop at E. Again, you're only adjacent to yourself if there is a loop there. Is D adjacent to A?
No.
No. Okay. In order to get from D to A, I would have to travel through another point. So they are not adjacent.
So we can put our calculators up.
No, because that's where I put phones. So while we don't need them right now,
Mine can fit in there with it, and I also like to do something like this.
I mean, yeah, you're welcome. to
Where
if
is
you
my
wanna-
calculator?
Up there, where you put it.
Oh,
Wait, so you said D is A is not just.
Because you have to pass through B to get to A. There's no direct path from A to D without passing through another place first. Okay, so again, adjacent, you cannot pass through another point to get to the point you're trying to get to. Is C adjacent to itself?
No.
No, there is no loop at C. Okay, so points can be adjacent and your edges can be adjacent. So if your edges are adjacent, they must share a point in common. Okay, I should be able to, just like I did D to A, these two edges are adjacent to each other because they share this point in common. Okay, so two edges that intersect or share a vertex. So is AB adjacent to BC?
Yes.
Yes. Because they share B.
You don't even have to look at the pictures. Yeah, you can go by.
Okay.
You can just go
Good. Rodrigo says, I don't even have to look at the picture. You're telling me AB and BC.
They both have B in them.
Okay, they both have B. Okay. Would you say CE is adjacent to BD?
No.
No. They don't share anything in common. CE is over here and BD is here. Now, they intersect, but they do not intersect at a
They
But
don't
that's for
share,
later on.
they don't share something.
they don't share a vertex.
That's gonna be for later on.
Okay, so intersection does not mean adjacent. All right, every vertex has what we call a degree. And your degree is how many edges are at that vertex. So, some things to keep in mind. If you have a loop, it counts as twice towards the degree because you've got an exit and an enter. Okay, so take a look at A. How many edges
One.
are attached to A?
One.
1. So A has a degree of 1. B has
3.
3.
Oh, this is easy peasy. One, two.
C has 2.
B has 2.
D has 2.
E has 4.
And E has 4. Okay, again, that loop counts as 2. Then you've got an edge that goes out to D and an edge that goes out to C. Okay, questions? Okay, these vertices are either odd degree or even degree, depending on how many lines. It's literally, is it an odd number or an even? So, A had a degree of 1, so this is
Even. Boy, what?
That's odd.
okay. He's just trying to be extra back there.
No, both of them said.
Please tell me that that was a joke. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. D. B is odd.
Odd,
C.
even,
Even.
24,
D is
oddie,
500.
and
and a
even.
55 for odd, even.
Rodrigo. Question.
No, ma'am.
We almost done, guys.
What?
Almost done.
Also,
Yeah.
look at the
So I
rest.
can go to sleep?
No.
No, we got homework.
Okay.
You and her.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay. A path is a sequence of adjacent vertices from one starting point to an end point.
A,
So,
B to B,
In other
B,
words,
and then
stop.
Right there.
Okay. So when you're drawing a path, you should be able to place your pencil. You should be able to follow the lines without ever picking it up. So some things to keep in mind. Once you travel an edge, you cannot travel it again. Okay. The length of your path is how many lines you've traced. Okay. So they want a path that starts at A, and we want to finish over here.
Already said the B.
A, B,
A to B, C
The E.
to E. So that's one. A to B, B to C, C to E.
Where's that at?
We're still on that same graph. Hold on. Go ahead, Derek. Where are you going? A to B. Over to what?
Oh, snap.
To D.
To D
That's what I
to
said.
E. So that's another one.
That's it.
A.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You could really be that extra person and go A to B, B to C, C to E, and back around to E.
No.
Wow.
You're already at A, you can't travel E again. No.
Oh.
But I didn't travel the loop, so I can travel that again. You can go to E as many times as you want. You cannot travel the same edge. Okay? So I can revisit any of these points as much as I want. I just cannot travel the same line again. Okay? So if I go from A to B, I can't get back to A. Because
Wait,
I've already traveled that edge.
So let's say A had a loop. I can do A to A, then down to B. Oh,
Mhm.
No.
Hold on.
I was using it as a reference, but okay.
Hold on. So if A had a loop, go ahead.
You can go A to A, then to B, and then to D, to E, back to E.
Yes.
So extra for no reason when you go.
Right.
What follow has those?
So you can go back to A as many times as you want, as long as you are taking a different line there.
Oh, so you go, you do another loop.
Okay. So as long as you don't go over that line again,
So
you're
you can
good.
make as many lines as
Mhm.
Could you also do
Okay.
Okay.
Could you loop B and D?
So some things to keep in mind. Rodrigo's example was fantastic, but you cannot draw extra lines. So that loop that I drew around A was not originally there. You cannot make it there.
Well, I said suppose, so.
Okay. So if my original graph has it, you can use it. You cannot add any extra lines or any extra dots. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay. The path is going to have a length. So we went from A to B, B to C, C to E. This has a length of 3.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay, it's each edge. So I have an edge from A to B, I have an edge from B to C, and I have an edge from C to E.
Okay, well, the bottom one also has 3, so let's just move down
What
to
about
the.
Okay, so this one has 3.
Yes.
So that'd be 5, wouldn't it?
1, 2, 3,
5.
4.
5. Because I thought a loop counts twice.
As a degree,
Oh.
not as an edge. Okay, so the way I suggest you do it, and there's 2 different ways to look at it. I like to put the dashes in between my letters. So 1, 2, 3 dashes means a length of 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 dashes, length of 4. Okay, some other people look at it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices, so my length is 3. If I have 5 vertices, my length is 4. So your length is always 1 less than how many letters you have listed. Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't get what you just said.
Okay.
What she mean? What? What?
Nobody was doing it.
What she said?
What'd she say? I didn't hear
The length of
So,
the
You can either do the length. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Where did F come from?
6 letters. I'm just making an example for her.
Subtract one.
Calm down. Has nothing to do with this. So 6 letters, or I like to put the dashes in between my letters. So there's 1 edge, here's 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 edges.
But there's five.
Okay.
Six
Every
letters.
time you connect a letter, it's another edge. Okay. So I don't care which way you do it. You're just gonna have to be able to pay attention to what the length is.
You just say it's one less than
Some people don't understand that, so I've done the lines in between. It's just how people's brains work.
we don't understand that.
Go on, true.
6 letters.
Continue.
5 edges.
Okay, we have special paths
So if you have 4 letters,
Yeah, that's
try one, you
what
have
I'm
3 edges.
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
every time. We have special paths. Paths.
That's all.
No. Okay, so we are now going to call these a circuit. A circuit means that I have to start and I have to end
There.
at the same vertex.
Alright.
Okay, I always tell them think NASCAR.
You can do that with E.
When you start NASCAR, you start at the same spot, and when you finish that race, you finish at that same exact spot.
Wait, you can do that with E. You can do that with E.
You're making a left turn.
Another left turn.
Okay, so if they want me to find a circuit for C, you had better start with the C, and you had better finish with the C.
Alright.
I already found that.
Alright.
Okay, go ahead, Thomas. Where are we going?
Go from C to B to D to E to E.
No, go back to E again.
Nah,
Right.
C to B.
Go back to C.
Okay, you can't do E. You can go from C to B,
It
B,
is a loop.
D, background to E, and then a
said.
And I just said you were correct. Why are you yelling at me? No, I did not.
No, you did.
If people would stop screaming,
Oh, replay. Replay that.
oh, we'll play it after we're done recording today. We'll play it because I said you can, and y'all were too busy.
Don't replay it.
Is that what we said?
Yes, that's what you sound.
Sounds like that. What?
You. So what is the length of my top circuit?
1, 2,
4.
It has a length of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the length if I add in the loop? 5.
So E. I got one for E.
You got one for E?
It says E, loop, and you're back at E. You're done.
Oh.
Okay, that is the shortest circuit that you can do.
Facts.
E to E. If there's a loop, that is a circuit. You've left E, you've traveled an edge, and you've gone back.
I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna go.
It is NASCAR. That's NASCAR right there.
I'm gonna go.
Okay. What is the length of that?
1.
Come on.
I don't want to do that.
Now, could you have picked something different? Sure. You could have went E around the loop, up to D, down to B, up to C, and back to E.
So extra.
Watch you on the test, like your for examples. This for examples.
Okay.
She already
And you could have
tried
given it a length of 5.
She already put our project. She probably already got the test printed.
Oh, no.
Oh, you better bet your test is done.
Is it like this?
See, look,
Yeah.
but 2 examples, 4
Hey, how many questions?
So we get partners.
24.
We get partners. I want Zach again.
You get no partners. No. Suck it up, Buttercup. Okay,
Zach.
That's just.
I want you to try these ones
No.
on your own.
No.
Be careful with number 1. Find a path from B to K
Where's K?
where you pass through point W, but not S. You cannot pass through point S.
That, how is that hard?
What?
Oh, they told me last period it can't be done.
What?
For the first 5 minutes.
BHJW. It's double. Oh, sorry.
Not done. It can be done, I promise.
You sound a little bit stupid.
You
Okay.
can't use A because it doesn't have anything to loop back to. Right.
Which A?
So what if, yeah, like, so it's right.
Ain't no A.
To go from B to where?
I was like, I was living for him.
That's not a turning point. You can't switch
I
lines.
pointed at his,
in an intersection that doesn't have a dot. You have to go from a
Got it.
dot
I got my
to a
watch.
dot.
See,
Okay, so
Oh,
please be careful. You cannot do this.
Obviously.
This is not a point, therefore you
Who did that?
cannot change direction.
Who did that?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, for real, who did that?
Don't worry about it.
What?
Don't worry about it.
it.
I'm gonna smack you. Stop.
I'm just saying. Come on.
Raul got it?
Raul just cussed you out.
Raul thinks he got it.
Who else? Who?
Mhm. Mhm.
Wait, to H to J, can we just? Never mind.
Got it.
Got it?
Wait.
Okay. Try the rest of it. Find a path from H to J with a length of 4.
I got you.
Got
Okay?
it.
H, the 6?
Yeah, I'm with the.
Okay. You
Got it.
working, we'll look at them.
Oh, I got some.
and it's a huge.
you mean confused?
See, I'm even confused. Hold on now.
It
I'm a little confused.
Hey, look.
Okay, that's H to K.
I'm a little bit confused.
S.
You're a little bit confused.
Back down to
Yeah.
W.
I am
and
too,
then
no
up to
cap.
J.
B to K.
Alright. B to H.
H K.
H to K. H to J.
H to K to S.
Oh, you talking about 1 or 2? Got it.
No.
Back
H
that
to
way.
K
H to
to
K.
S.
W.
To W.
But you're only gonna start with K.
Find a
Because you gotta
circle.
go from B to K.
Find a search with the length of 5.
Why you go to J?
All things.
Remember what it means to be a circuit.
That's.
Oh, the same one.
You have to go back to wherever you started
From
from.
here.
So let me erase my line.
B, curve, boom, to J, to W, to K.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be Thomas's chapter.
H.
Got it.
My chapter yesterday.
It still might be your chapter. Don't worry.
No,
You got this.
it's short case. No, stop.
You're all done.
Shut up.
I'm done. Wait, what's that? How many you supposed to do? Go down to what?
Do it under 5.
Oh, then yeah, I did them all.
W, K,
Well, it makes sense.
They're correct.
Can I read it?
Yes.
So, yeah, I can't.
Man, I want to start.
Thank you, Miss. Miss Smith is a great teacher. She should get a promotion.
Can I show this to Perry now?
Oh,
Am
hey.
I your business partner?
Yes. See, and we caught her sway up real fast.
Wrong.
Is that right for the kids?
Thomas is here, Derek.
That ain't gonna
Please, Beth.
We still missing Steph.
It's easy.
I know, that's why.
But this is.
You need help?
Nigel good.
You look like it. Alright.
It's.
J, W, X. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wait, so when on 5 we do all of this? Huh?
Oh, that's
Yes.
This way.
Yes, do all of them. They want the vertex at every point.
okay.
Like to the back.
The degree of each vertex, wait a minute.
So we can find any one degree?
Ooh, number five.
I just put them up in the graph for number 5.
I figured this out already.
They want the degree of each vertex for number 5. I put them up in the graph.
That's right.
Who wants to go put up 1?
What's one?
Go ahead, Rowan.
Let me do 5. I mean 3. My bad.
A 5 to
I got 3.
It looks cool.
They good. I can't French braid.
13.
Yes.
Hold up.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's supposed to be a B.
You see how this one has
Thomas, you weren't here that Friday.
Oh, right. Ooh.
but this one has 3 lines attached to it, so it'll be 3.
Oh, right. Ooh.
You don't mind if I would tabulate your board, right?
I'm talking about for this.
What?
Number 5.
What is you
Yeah.
doing, homie?
This one has 3 lines attached to it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Homie's one of
He's
mess.
fixing the screen.
He's not even pressing on the dot. Yo.
Yeah, I'm good. He said he almost.
This one, you said you were
I
getting
just
back
want
to
to
that?
play.
Yes.
Play the dot game.
Don't forget, I'm here after school today. If anybody needs to stay to retake or make up any
Or
tests,
just put a dash.
if you want to work on your chapter 4 projects,
What?
All of them. All of them.
Oh, I can't say that.
Oh, yeah. That's one. All right, I got it.
Who doing
I
2?
have
That's wrong.
Who doing 2?
95? Yes.
Who doing 2?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Who wants to?
I want 1.
Sorry, John.
2. What did you?
I want to do 1.
Did you find that in the bathroom?
Right.
He did. No, he got that from his horror class.
You want to go put my pass down?
It was in there earlier.
Quarter.
Thanks. You want to do number 2 on your way back?
Yeah, of course.
So,
Miss Horder had
Pictures, eh?
And it's a whole metal spoon too.
Would you like your paper? I'll bring it to you.
With it being a circuit, if you start at B, you have to finish at B.
There we go.
Okay,
Oh, I see, yeah.
good. Now,
No.
some of you, hold on.
Oh.
Some of you may have started this at a different spot. That's okay.
Most of them were the same.
You could have started at S and went to W, went to J. I'm sorry, never mind. I'm thinking circuit, not the path. My bad. My bad. I was thinking the circuit, not the path. My bad. There was another one though, wasn't there?
No, it's just circuit.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I
Oh, no.
just switched
Hey.
those two.
Okay, so you could have also went H to K to W to S to J. Okay, so there were multiple answers there. Both of them are correct.
If you went like that, I could fix it.
He
No,
said-
you don't want it fixed. You want it
Oh.
What?
There.
This is like anywhere in a coffee
Hey.
shop.
Wait, what did I do?
Circuit.
And I put it in the orders.
You gotta get there.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste as good as I thought it would.
Obviously. Been sitting in the refrigerator.
Can you like shut up? Was I talking to you, Corey?
I'm
You
sorry.
know what, Corey? Go do one.
I'm sorry.
Do a new one, Corey.
I'll do the next one.
It's four.
Okay,
Let's go back to the same one.
it's a circuit.
Let's
Oh.
go back to the same
It's
one.
a circuit.
Wait.
If you start at J, you have to finish at J.
Oh.
Oh.
Can I do that one?
Now we're a little
No.
extra there.
Can I do it?
Can I do
All right,
it?
extra.
Can I
Oh,
do it?
I do it?
Oh, Thomas is about to show you up.
Oh.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Thomas. You're like.
Oh my God.
Just pick up a new one.
No.
Dewan.
No.
Dewan.
No.
Dewan.
No.
I said yes.
No.
Dewan.
I want to think.
Ezekiel.
Oh.
I want to think.
Put his whole government name out.
Right, yo, bald head self.
Dewan.
What?
Ezekiel.
Oh, that's that dude from Walking Dead. I was just thinking about it. That's the dude from Walking Dead.
Put his social security number.
Good.
Really ugly.
J to H, H to K, K to W, W to S, and
Oh, I got
S to
one.
J.
I got one.
I was gonna do that one.
I got one.
I ain't doing no more now.
I got one.
Yeah,
What did you have for this one, Pam?
Wrong word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So S to J, H to K,
Why are you holding your hands so like that?
W to S.
Okay,
I got one. I got.
so, hold on. Stop for a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. So, take a look at Thomas's, and then take a look at Sienna's. It's the same circuit. Okay, it's just Thomas started at J and followed to J. Sienna then started at S and went S to J, J to H, H to K, K to W, and W to S. It's the same exact circuit, except she has a different starting point.
I got it.
That's okay.
Dewan.
He stole
What
mine.
else did you give me?
Oh, H K S W J.
Everybody's still.
Come on, race forward.
Okay.
It's a race forward.
That one works as well. So there are several that work for this. Okay, you're only circuit of a length 1. You can never do a circuit that is a length 1 unless you have a loop.
H, J,
It's B, B, B.
W, K, H, D.
Don't. S had to be in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is bubble. Can I do 3? Can I do 5?
I got a million conversations going on. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any questions, whatever. Anybody have questions or issues or something that you have different that you want me to check and make sure that you're correct? Because there are several different things you can have here.
I don't know why they threw this out. This is perfectly nice.
Yo, wait a minute.
Hold up.
Wait a minute.
It just found in the.
The bathroom.
Okay, go ahead, Peter.
I found it in the
I
bathroom
found
trash.
the one too. I have one in my book bag at all times.
That's genius.
For reasons like this. I don't know why they threw it out in the bathroom. It's perfectly fine.
I like doing it like the periodic table. You jot that and you move. Oh, I got that right. So look.
They're all 3.
Oh, I'll put 2 for that one. I'll fix it.
It's 3 non-lines connected to B.
He said I got them all right.
Good. Each one of your vertices should have had a degree of 3 in this.
B got 3.
Yes. Remember, your loop counts as
Right, I'll
2
put 2.
because you have an exit and you have an enter, and then you've got the one that goes to H.
That's the only time your loop will count as a 2.
Yeah.
So a loop always counts as 2 degrees.
That's what I just.
Anybody else questions or issues? Okay. So this is probably going to be the hardest part of this chapter,
What?
the next piece.
Oh.
Okay. So, well, okay, not this page. It'll be the concept right after this. This is it. We done right after this. This is
All right,
it.
let's get it.
Okay, so you've got two different types of graphs. You have a connected graph. Okay, a connected graph is if any two vertices can be joined by a path. In other words, if my graph is one big piece. Okay, so graph one is connected. This is one gigantic piece. Okay, and this is called a component.
Oh wait, what do you mean they're connected?
Okay,
Cause all the.
every dot is connected somehow, some way.
Oh,
Okay,
That means
there's edges going out to everything.
so C wasn't connected and
duh.
C is connected.
Okay,
But wait,
Wait, hold on, was that
whoa,
right?
that's weird because FE is not connected. Wait, huh?
But F is connected to A and B, and E is connected to B and C and D.
uh-huh.
So that
And
means
F is connected to B,
Yeah,
so E is connected to E.
Wait.
E is
Okay.
connected to C.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that A has to be connected to every point.
Oh.
I'm just saying that it has to be connected as a
Something.
whole.
So it could be a straight.
It has to be connected to something.
not two
But
shapes.
then for graph 2, why is it disconnected? Because I see P is connected to X and X is connected to
Because the
Y.
shapes are connected.
Because like
Because there's two different components here. You have component 1 and component 2.
Oh.
Did that just
I
click?
thought you was talking.
I thought those were
Okay.
two different
Yeah, that's what I'm
graphs.
looking at.
No.
Okay.
It's one big graph.
Oh, okay. But okay, so if X was connected to S or R
So,
was S,
If there was a line like here,
that would make
or a line here, or a line here, it would have been connected.
Oh.
Okay,
Then
so-
you should have said that at the start because that kind of confused me. Yeah, I was super confused. I was like, wait, why are they not
Okay,
connected?
so-
Connected.
The thing is too, look at all the points that they listed together, which means all of these points have to be connected. So you have two different components in this one. It's made of smaller connected portions or parts. Okay. Question.
This is easy.
Okay. So here's your last term, and this is what everybody struggles with.
Oh my god.
I read it to the store and
Oh, no.
I want another one.
A bridge is an edge in a connected graph whose removal will make it disconnected. So in other words, if I went to your graph and I burned down one of your lines like a bridge,
Why would you do that?
my two islands are now separate.
What's wrong
Okay.
with you?
So it's the only path between two vertices, and no alternate routes exist to travel between the two. Okay. So let's go back to, you don't have to flip your page. I want to go back to this one.
Oh, burn B and A.
Okay. So if I went and I burned this line,
Which is cruel, by the way.
that is cruel. Okay. Let's say it caught on fire
Oh,
Okay.
come
and
on.
it burned down.
I know somebody.
I now have two graphs. Okay. I have A up here all by itself, and then I have B to C to E around the loop to D to B. So when I get rid of that edge, my graph is now disconnected because I have component 1 and I have component 2.
Okay.
Okay. So A to B is considered to be a bridge.
That's easy.
It's like.
But wait. Like for go back to the ones that we were just doing.
Yeah.
The
Hold on,
one-
we'll get there.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So Sienna says, what about B and D if I get rid of that
I
one?
was like, can you get rid of multiple? I put that in this.
Remember, in order to calculate a bridge, you can only get rid of one edge at a time.
Oh,
Okay. So
they burn quite slow.
so then we keep this one and you want to get rid of B
To D.
to D.
That wouldn't matter.
Okay.
It don't matter. Wait till W.
It wouldn't matter. because-
That's not going to matter because A is still connected to B, B goes to C,
What if you did?
C goes to E, and E goes to D.
Yeah.
Every point is still touched by an edge and
D to
connected in one big
You
thing.
know how to ride a motorcycle?
Okay?
That's-
But remember,
Where did
if
you-
I get rid of D to E, that means B to D comes back into play. You can only remove one edge at a time.
Where did you?
What about the E circle?
So you,
2 points.
I'm sorry, Miss Smith, but
So you can't remove the E circle?
Ooh.
It doesn't matter because then E is not connected to E.
I'm gonna need you to like come sit closer to the front because I feel like you being back there, you like
Disconnect.
yes, you are. There is no bridge from me to you. You are disconnected.
They burned that bitch down. No, the loop on E doesn't matter because then E would still be connected to C.
Right.
Okay. And
So if I would get rid of this loop here, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because everything's still connected.
to one.
Okay. So again,
Wait.
when you're trying to figure out what is a bridge, you can only take away one edge at a time. Okay. So let's look at this one.
No.
I'm gonna erase Caleb's lovely threes
No.
so we can see the picture just a little
You
bit
know
better.
what?
Three.
That's sexist.
Delete B to H.
Okay.
That's your bridge.
Yeah. What he said.
What'd you say?
What?
B to H.
What he said.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So we're burning bridges. Is there ever gonna be a time to where we have to connect a bridge?
Rebuild a bridge?
Build
Yeah.
a bridge.
But we build a bridge instead of burn a bridge?
No.
Like, how are you racing it?
I'm drawing in white.
Oh.
Whoa.
Whoa, it looks like you're actually disappeared.
Yo.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. It's going away.
That is awesome.
That's the coolest thing I've ever
Okay.
seen.
It's
So-
a white out for white.
Rodrigo says if I take away the line that connected H to B, I now have a disconnected graph. And he's correct. Because when I remove that piece, I've got a component over here that's just B in its loop. Then I've got this component over here that connects everything else.
But it's got, you can connect one that looks like it's an isolated one every time. Like it kind of looks like it's farther off. Connect that voice.
Not all of them are going to be that easily seen,
Like,
as
but
much as I'd love to say that.
oh, the next one, C to E, you erase that, and then C like.
Yes.
Like I said.
So the way I look at it, I always look and I try to see, are there 2 points that only have one line? If there are 2 points that only have one line, it's a bridge.
Oh, thanks.
That's
Okay.
what C did.
2 points that have one line connecting is a bridge.
Exactly.
so like S and J would be a bridge.
What?
You said 2 else?
S to
Oh,
J.
what?
So
But S also reaches out to something else.
it has 3 other lines. Like it goes
So
K and
try to think more in terms of,
A single one
one.
yes,
with 2 dots.
where you have a point where it only has one line coming out that connects somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
The loop
So-
doesn't count.
No, the loop doesn't count.
Why can't
So if we're on this one,
Delete it from B to E.
E to E, yeah, S,
B to
C to
E.
E.
B to E.
For one line?
A to B?
okay,
B to D.
so there are actually 3 bridges.
No, not that one.
There are 3 bridges in graph 1.
E to D.
E to C is a bridge.
B to
Because
D.
if I remove this line, you've got C up here by itself,
Yep.
and then you've got this piece down here.
Teachers, pardon the interruption. Please dismiss the members of the cross-country team.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's mean. No, I would say that's
That's
racist.
me, gotta go.
I got my
Okay.
So A,
We should have a little cross.
I really kind of regret that.
No, draw.
That's our-
Okay. So when I delete the line that goes, stop. When I delete the line that goes from E to C, I now have 2 pieces. I've got this piece and this piece.
And these go.
Okay, so E to C is a bridge.
Ain't no E to L.
I said.
F to A. Okay.
That still connects the
F to
A.
A.
I said.
That one's not gonna matter.
I said-
Because again, this is still one big chunk.
You took away from C to E.
B to F still.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, never mind.
you said
C to E.
what?
B to F will still be.
D to E.
See,
E.
we already,
Take that middle bridge off.
Did we take off C to E?
It is.
we already took off C to E or E to C.
A to B.
D.
A to
No,
B.
B to
No,
E.
B
B
to
to
E.
E. B to E.
B
to E.
Wait, A.
Yeah, it's B to E.
C to E.
B to E
D to E.
is a bridge, because now I've got a triangle by itself and I've got an angle by itself.
Yep.
So B to E is a bridge.
Oh
So-
my.
That's it, that's it, that's it.
Oh, hello.
There should be one more bridge.
D to E. Oh,
D to E is my last bridge. Again, because it makes this one big chunk and this is my second piece. Okay?
So graph one.
Bridge is gonna be the hardest one.
That's
How is that hard?
hard?
It's just people might forget like one or two.
Okay, now, I know graph 2 is already disconnected, but let's look at each component individually.
All right.
You can't do it for component one.
So,
First one.
Component 1, are there any bridges in
No.
one? We're still connected. If I delete this line, we're still connected. If I delete this line, we're still connected. So there are no bridges in component 1.
There's
But what about component 2?
There's 4 of them.
There's 4. Each one of these lines is a component, from S to W,
Bridge.
because it would put S by itself. W to T, because it would put SW by itself and TVU by itself. T to V, and V to U. Every last one of those are considered a bridge.
When does,
Two others.
how to get rid of murder come
I
back?
had a question, but I forgot.
You had a question, but you forgot.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Well, if it pops back into your head, be like, Ms. Smith, stop, I got my question.
No, I don't think it was, yeah. No.
That's it?
No, I'll answer.
So again, this is going to be your most difficult piece.
Oh, so if you can take the line away and then be a single.
If it becomes 2 separate graphs instead of one chunk, it's a bridge. Okay? Alright, I don't think we need to draw anymore right now.
All right.
Now we're
good.
Okay, listen,
Yeah, right not there.
one more.
The YouTube video.
Oh,
I forgot.
okay, we'll go with that. Give me a
He
second.
do all this.
You know he's gotta be extra.
Exactly.
Right now, YouTube video back to you, she said.
Right, they wanna make sure that I'm not lying.